Thank you all for joining us here today. We're so happy to have you at the conference. Turn your attention to the stage so that we can welcome a very wonderful singer, Noa Danay.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll be singing a beautiful song by Dan Reichel, performed by Ronnie Dalumi, called Tachzor. השעות היפות שלא נותנות לזמן לרוץ, הרגליים הכבדות שלא מוצאות סיבה ללכת, הימים והלילות כמו הפנים שבתמונות, הכל עוצר מלכת כשאתה לא כאן, ומתעוררת מחלום ומרגישה אותך קרוב, ואז קוראת לך מתוך הלילה, תחזור, תחזור היום, כל כך רציתי שתגיע, הלוואי תבוא בלי להודיע עוד היום, אני מגדל שלו, ממרחקים ששוב תופיע, הלוואי תבוא בלי להודיע עוד היום. השעות היפות שלא נותנות לזמן לרוץ, הרגליים הכבדות שלא מוצאות סיבה ללכת, הימים והלילות כמו הפנים שבתמונות, הכל עוצר מלכת כשאתה לא כאן, ומתעוררת מחלום ומרגישה אותך קרוב, ואז קוראת לך מתוך הלילה, תחזור, תחזור היום, כל כך רציתי שתגיע, הלוואי תבוא בלי להודיע עוד היום, אני מגדל שלו, ממרחקים ששוב תופיע, הלוואי תבוא בלי להודיע עוד היום.
Wow, it's very bright. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Doran Miller, and I proudly serve as president of the Desert States Board of Directors. Growing up, Israel was simply part of who I was. My mom is from Israel, and her parents were from Israel. My Saba fought in Israel's wars in 1948 and 1956. I remember my grandmother, my Savta, playing the accordion and singing old Israeli folk songs to me. As a kid, I didn't think of myself as a Zionist. Israel was where my family was from, and it was part of who we were. But as life moved on with school and work, marriage, a child, a few cross-country moves, I realized something was missing. That connection to Israel wasn't gone, of course, but it needed to be rekindled. Then I found Jewish National Fund USA, and everything changed. I still remember walking into my first national conference in 2018, not knowing a soul. And then out of nowhere, Russell Robinson appeared. He looked at me, he opened his arms like this, and he said, "I'm so glad you're here." Me? But he meant me. He was talking to me. It was a small moment, but one that I will never forget because it made me realize that I was home. Since then, through joy and heartbreak, from the Tree of Life tragedy that weekend, National Conference 2018, To the horrors of October 7th, our Jewish National Fund USA family has shown what resilience truly means. We don't just care about Israel. We act for the land and its people. We've raised billions of dollars, sent thousands of volunteers, myself included, and delivered real aid and hope when it mattered most. So, okay, I didn't fight in Israel's wars like my Saba did, but through Jewish National Fund USA, I am fighting for Israel's future, and I know that everyone in this room is fighting too. That's what today's session is all about. The women who fight and who lead and who rise. Whether standing up to hatred, surviving the unimaginable, or leading communities in crisis, these are the women who embody courage and compassion in equal measure. It is now my honor to welcome this afternoon's panel. Shirly Pinto Kadosh is a former member of Knesset and a tireless advocate for inclusion and accessibility. Ofri Reiner is a survivor of the Nova Festival, whose strength gives us all hope. Shelly Shem is the courageous mother of Omer, who was held hostage in Gaza and whose outspokenness as a mother and an advocate inspired the world. And Michal Uziyahu, the mayor of the Eshkol region, who leads with resilience and heart from Israel's frontier. Today's session will be moderated by Erin Molan, an international broadcaster and advocate. Who has been an incredible and tireless friend and ally of the land and people of Israel. Please join me in welcoming and celebrating these Wonder Women.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is such an honor and such a privilege to be here with you this afternoon, and I don't say that lightly. I've been asked to say a few words before I sit down with this incredible group of women, and another massive round of applause. They are superheroes, every single one of them. If you'd told me 2 years ago that there would be an attack like October 7, that I would come out very publicly in support of the victims of that heinous terrorist attack and in absolute condemnation of the evil who carried it out, and that that would be considered controversial, and that the backlash would absolutely turn my life upside down, I would have said, "You are dreaming. There's no chance. No chance." When October 7 occurred, there was not 1 second that I dedicated to sitting down and weighing up whose side I would be on. The thought of that is utterly ridiculous. It was so obvious. So obvious. So I went on my television show, my weekly show on Sky News, and I did exactly that. I condemned absolutely the atrocities, and I stood staunchly with the victims of that attack, the Jewish and Israeli people. Now, it breaks my heart that that is something that you feel the need to applaud. Isn't that insanity? The backlash was unbelievable, to be honest. I thought that I had experienced life in the public eye for close to 2 decades, hosting sport. I thought I understood a level of hate that existed, but I had absolutely no idea. In the week that followed, I had to give my little girl to her father. I had to get security. I dealt with the kind of threats that were considered credible that I would never have imagined. But the next week I got back up on my show and I went harder, because that's what you do. Even when it is hard, even when it hurts, even when it's challenging, you do what is right. That's how I was raised. My father is the biggest inspiration for my life, and he's the reason that I am able to do every single thing that I do. He was a major general in the army. He fought in Iraq for a year, bravely. He then joined the Australian Senate and became the most individually voted for politician in Australian history. He's amazing. We lost him a couple of years ago, unfortunately, and the pain of that is still as acute today as it was the day that we lost him. But I tell you what an honor and a privilege to feel so much pain at his loss. What an honor. And I feel the same way when it comes to the work that I do in this space, standing with Israel, standing with the Jewish community. Whenever it is hard, whenever it hurts, whenever I think to myself, I know that I am doing things that make my daughter's life not as safe. And I know that choices I make are putting her life in danger, and there are times that is crippling to me as a mother because my job is to protect her. But I think then about choosing my hard, and I choose hard now. Not just for you, and I love you all dearly, but for me, for her, for every single person in the West who cares about what is right and what matters, because this is not your battle. You're at the forefront, but this is not your battle. You are doing this on behalf of all of us. All of us. And I would say to you, the loud majority mob, history has shown over and over again that they are not always right. In fact, most of the time they are wrong. We know now that the loud majority mob are wrong. Don't wait for history to determine that in 50 years. We'll be gone. Know it now, loudly and proudly. Do not ever let them make you feel shame. You are incredible. You are right. You are saving the world from the most horrific thing, the evil that is not just Hamas, but everything else around it. So stand proudly. I am so grateful for everything you people do, every single thing. When I was in Israel, I went to visit a couple of the kibbutz that were absolutely ravaged on October 7. And I want to tell you who you people are. I'm sure you know, but I can only imagine that when the outside voices are so loud and persistent that there might be times you doubt yourselves. I hope not, but there might be. I stood in a room where 3 children were burned alive. I stood in that room and I sobbed. 2 of the little girls reminded me of my little girl. I then walked outside and I saw a woman watering roses at a little place next door. And I walked up to her and I said hello. I gave her a hug and I said, "Is this your place?" And she said, "No." She said, "I don't actually know who lives here, but I know that a lot of hostages were taken. So each week I drive for an hour and I water the roses. So when they come home, the roses will be alive." That is who you are. That is who Israel is. That is who the Jews are. I went up the road to another kibbutz, and there was a group of men with American accents, and I said to them, "Do you live here? Do you know the people here? Are you friends? Are you family?" They were clearing the rubble, helping to rebuild. Not one of them knew a soul. They took 6 months off work, all very high-end, would have earned millions of dollars in America, took 6 months off for nothing to come and help. They said, "We felt helpless." That is who Israel is. That is who the Jews are. And don't let any idiotic fool with a placard who knows absolutely nothing ever make you doubt who you are, what you stand for, what you value, because it puts all of them to shame. And they know it deep down, and that's why they hate us. That's why they hate you, that's why they hate me, because they know who you are. For the rest of my life, I will stand so proudly by your side, and I will fight for you every single day. And I say again, and I link it back to who was the most important person in my life, my dad. And I wish he was here, because I hope he would be a little bit proud. But I tie the two together in that it is an immense privilege and honor to miss him so much every day, because if I missed him less, it would mean he was less. And I say the same thing about you and about this battle. The harder it is, the more I know it matters. And it is my privilege and my honor to stand with you. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. That's so lovely. Thank you so much. And if no one could send any photos to my mother, because she'll kill me for wearing a skirt that's a little bit short. She hates my wardrobe. And I know some of you do too, because you tell me, bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to talk to some of the most incredible women that I have ever encountered, some of the bravest souls. Just phenomenal women, outstanding. Shirley, I'd like to start with you. You have overcome adversity from day dot. You have shown the way through sheer strength, a strength that you may not have known would be needed in the way it is now. But I want you to tell us, how do you push through when things feel overwhelming and too hard? Where do you find your strength from?
My strength, I think I get it from my faith, my faith in God, my faith in myself. And I will say that all over the time that people were saying that I'm hero, I'm the mother of Omer Shem Tov. And I think that any mother will do the same like I did. So every mother, she's a hero. Every woman has her strength to do everything for her family. So I think the faith that I had in God helped me to survive this situation, and I couldn't do it without my amazing husband, who was my back, my strength, and amazing family, my daughter and my son. That family is my life.
I think for most of us who are parents, I use the example that if my daughter has a blocked nose at night and she's struggling to sleep, I feel sick because she's suffering. So the thought of having to not only endure what you have endured, but to show up day in, day out and fight. Do you stop ever and think, I'm a little bit proud of how I handled the last 2 years?
Of course I'm proud. I'm doing to myself.
I love that.
But I would say, sometimes I try to say to people, you cannot understand what we've gone through. But there is one thing that parents don't forget, that their child is getting lost. And then it was like 5 minutes that you are in panic. You are looking all over. Your heart is beating, and it's only 5 minutes. And we were in the hard situation 505 days. And you don't have a choice. You're in a survival mode that every second it's dead or alive. And I think that for me, I couldn't control Omer's situation, but I needed to something that it's in my control. Yeah. And for me to create, it's for me, I believe in positive thinking, create positive reality. Wow. So from October 8th, I decided that Omer is coming back home. I decided not to arrange his room because he will come back home and arrange his room by himself. And every day I was talking with him and I was telling him that I know that he's strong, I know that he has faith, and we are doing everything to bring him back home. And for me, I waited 505 days, but every day I was feeling and seeing the day that he will come back home. And I felt it in all over my body, the day that he will come back home. And thank God, you know, it's pure happiness to see him, to hug him, and every morning for us is to go to his room and to see that he is there. So I believe that positive thinking is what, for me, it was all over the 505 days, helped me to stay strong, because in my heart I believed that Omer is coming back home.
And he did.
Yay!
And he did it. I'll move on in a second. I just want to ask you, I'm assuming for the first period after he came home, you didn't get frustrated with him. He was able to do whatever he wanted. He didn't get in trouble.
So
how long did it take for you to be like, Omer?
So you know, I will say that at October 8th, I went to his room, and I looked at his room, and he was, you know, it was not arranged, or the clothes were on the floor, and the bed was. So I said to myself at October 8th, I will not arrange his room. He will come back home and he arrange his room by himself. So I will say that 505 days, the light was on in his room. Yeah. The room was messy. And when the day that he came back home after his release, so I told him, come. Go to your room. But he didn't arrange his room. He only took the clothes from the floor and put it in the, yes. And we turned the light together, and it was, wow. But this is the last time he took the laundry to...
I love that. Ofri, I'll come to you now, if I may, and a slight change of pace now. I feel like people, and everyone here does, but take us back to that moment that you were at the Nova Music Festival, if you can, and when you knew that something serious was wrong, because I think for someone in your position, the sounds of an explosion probably wouldn't have been that scary initially, but then there would have been a moment where you went, this is not just a normal kind of attack?
Well, I think that throughout this entire break, I had some doubts in me. In the beginning, when the war started, I served as a combat soldier. So I served next to the border. Rockets come and go. The moment I understood that things are getting a little too hard is after we drove at the 232 intersection, sliding to the north and trying to get back home. There was a white Toyota that made some kind of a checkpoint and started mass shooting the cars that approaching them. And at that time, we did our way back. We tried to do a U-turn. We hit another car, and we kept driving. Both ways were shut down, both the entrance from Be'eri, the other side, and the north. So we head back to the parking lot. And in that parking lot, we were driving so slowly, it felt like ages. And from the anxiousness, I had nothing else to do but to sit down and think to myself what's going on. And from anxiousness, I believe that every woman can relate. I gotta pee. It's just how it is. So
you haven't had a child yet, though, have you?
No.
Like, it gets
Not
worse.
yet.
It gets worse.
Not yet. But when I understood that there is no other chance besides stepping out of the car and go find a place to pee, I tried to find myself a spot, and then a few terrorists spotted me from the uphill that was next to me and started shooting at us. We started driving by with a car, trying to do it as fast as we can. We tried to drive through the potato field, but the car got stuck, and they kept shooting. So that was this moment when we had to understand that we need to take our legs and just start running. This kind of a surreal image of what happened is still in me. I feel like I see it from above and not inside my body. I felt like my soul was torn because I was frightened, and I knew that I don't want to die, and I was running foot by foot, trying to find out how to manage. But at the same time, I knew that I'm not going to die, and I knew that I have a long way ahead of me. We were walking for 19 kilometers up until Patish, and after coming back home, I faced a different kind of battle, which is the battle of grief. At 6 p.m., I came back home to my sister's warm embrace, telling me that my stepbrother is missing. After 3 days, they informed that he's dead, and it took 10 days to bury his body. And by this time, I couldn't grasp anything around me. I couldn't feel relieved for the life I got back, and I couldn't feel like I am fully mourning and feeling and understanding the loss that I've got at the same day. While I was there on October 7th, running and dancing, my brother was in combat in Golani 51, and he was from the first one who fought amongst the terrorists. Him, along with 23 additional soldiers in front of 3,000 terrorists that entered the border. After 50 minutes, he already died.
You said afterwards, and this is key, and Shirley, I'll talk to you about this as well, because you make the point about the trauma that exists after the terrorist attack. The presence of death lingers. That is so heartbreaking, and it's such a beautiful way of putting it. It's a horrific thing, but those words Tell us what you mean by that. Is that every second of every day for you?
The first day, while I was sitting at the Shiva, that was 2.5 weeks, it felt like there is something in the room that takes all the air and sucks it in. I feel like I was completely transparent to what I was going through. I was just living one day at a time, but not inside of my own body, just look at it from above. While I couldn't understand what I was going through, I try to do the best that I can to relate to the death. And by feeling so transparent through my own pain, I started romanticizing my own death. I felt like I was sitting in the Shiva and experiencing my own Shiva. I saw the photos of Shalev at the living room, and I imagined my photos sitting next to it. I couldn't explain how it feels to be present, but completely translucent.
Shelly, is that something you can relate to?
First of all, I would say that I believe that God protects you in the horrible situation that you've been through. And you're here for a reason. And I hope that your recovery will bring you to be stronger and stronger, to do something for others also. First of all for yourself, but after for others. As we talked before, we were chosen. I will say, for us to wake up every morning, I would say we didn't slept at all, like 505 days. The body is shutting himself. But then to wake up every morning and to think, first of all, to see the daylight outside and to think about Omer that didn't see daylight so many times, or to drink something or to eat something, and to think about what Omer is going through. It was very, very hard. But I will say that, as she said, you are taking it out from yourself, because we needed the power to continue to fight for his life. So you need to, I was thinking positive thinking, like I see Omer, I know Omer, he's very lovable. And I believed that also in the darkness place, he's find his way to be shine, to be sunshine, as we called him. And Omer said after he came back, so he said, I felt the light inside of me. We raised him to be optimistic and positive. And even in the darkness place, he was finding the light.
Amazing.
So this is
that is amazing. Incredible. Shirley, you talk about resilience, and we see so many examples, not just up here on the stage, but you actually have to be resilient to be Israeli, to be Jewish. It's a prerequisite. You were the first deaf person to be in the Knesset. What was that experience like for you, and what was challenging about that? What was the hardest part of that? And all these women's stories are so different, but it's the same theme. It's that strength, it's that resilience, it's that pushing through barriers.
One of the things I just want to say before that, I'm deaf like you can see, and my interpreter Liat translation me from Israel sign language to English speaking. Just for makery.
Amazing.
So I grew up to two deaf parents. My mother, she's deaf and blind. She have Usher syndrome. It's a sickness that hurt her peripheral vision. But it means that we can see to the all side. If my mother, somebody come from the side, she will not see him. It's like to look in a little circle. A lot of people, sometimes it's stuck, and sometimes you became completely blind. In my mother's case, when I was 16 years old, she became completely blind. It means she cannot see and she cannot hear. And my father left home. They divorced. So I found to myself alone. I lost my mother a little bit because she was in a depressed, and I was taking care of my little brother and pay the bill and everything. Nobody wake me up in the morning to school and make me a sandwich. I was for my family there. I was a grown-up. My little brother is hearing, but because he is the only one in my family that can hear, he found his friend and his place, and it's natural. He connect to the other society. And because my parents are both deaf, they was holding me. And I think that this childhood make me stronger, these difficult things. And after I grew up, I served in the IDF, in the Air Force. I don't know if you know, but people with disability do not have to serve in the IDF. We can choose to volunteer. And for me, when I realized I can volunteer in the IDF, it was never a choice.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Amazing.
Thank you.
I love that.
For me, it's so obvious to take part in Israeli society, to give from myself to the country. I asked to myself, how can I give to the country, to Israel? If it's the only way it's in the IDF, I will serve. And I served 4 years. In 2009, 1 year after I became a soldier, I get a Medal of Honor of the Prime Minister, Shimon Peres, that passed away. And this Medal of Honor, I'm not telling because I want clapping the heads, I'm telling that because for me, after all my life, people tell me, Shirley, you cannot do nothing, you are deaf, you will never succeed, you should never try. It's not that I am, a lot of people tell me, you're not good enough just because you're deaf. And then I realized that I get in this Medal of Honor because I work really hard. I believe myself and I give for myself. It means that every person with disability, every person around the world can succeed. There's no reason it's not. We can do everything in a hard work. We can do a big thing. Thank you. So this is the moment that I change my point of view of life, and I say, okay, since here, I don't know how, I don't know where I will do it, but I want to change the future for every person in Israel. I don't want that my future children, the new generation, will through what I've been through. I want to make Israel better. I want to change the future for people with disability in Israel. It's not where I will be, I will do it. I'm here to serve the country and our people. Today, I'm a mother to 2 deaf children. The oldest is 7 years old, and the little one, she's 4 years old. They are both deaf. My husband is deaf. Like I say, your parents also deaf. My grandfather and my grandmother are deaf. So sometimes people ask me if I will quit someday. I will never quit from this job. If I'm a member of Knesset or not, this is who I am. I cannot run away from that. This is my life work.
You are incredible. Wow, you're amazing. And I know that JNF USA do the most superb work supporting people with a disability in Israel as well. So thank you. You're all helping to contribute to the most amazing program. So thank you. Thank you for all the work you do. We were talking backstage and you made the point to me that you were really passionate. And this just, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest because you're obviously such a selfless person. But you want to talk about the trauma that exists and will follow people who experienced October 7 and people in Israel generally, everyone there experienced October 7. Tell me how you think Israel and its people can heal in some way from what they are going through now and how long that takes and does it ever end?
A lot of people asking me, okay, October 7, how did you hear the alarms? So I cannot hear the alarms, nobody at my home. It was a very difficult days for us to know when to go to the shelter, when to come back. It was terrified. I know in October 7, I took the cochlear implant for my kid because I didn't want them to feel the trauma for all the alarms. And in this day, I get a lot of calling for help. People text me from the south, from the kibbutzim, Sderot, Netivot, a lot of cities on the south of Israel, people of disability, their family, people who need evacuate to a safe place, people who need medication and cannot go out from the house because there is alarms. I get a lot of calling for help, but I was with my own, and I saw that the country, the state of Israel, was not there. It was a chaos. Nobody was there for people with disability. So I decided to text to my good friend for another association. I told him, Idan, we need to start something for people with disability. We saw the amazing people in Israel. I really want to clap the heads for them, the Jewish people around the world in Israel. In October 7, we saw all of us united. I think we're going to win just if we will be united. The people left everything behind, did everything. They ran to fight at the war for people they never know. The army didn't call them. They leave the family, their kids, everything. And I saw that people with disability don't know to who call for help, which association can help them. And every time you need to call and explain your story, who you are, what is your disability, how they can help you. And if this man cannot help you, you need to have another consult, and it's exhausting to explain it over and over again. In emergency situation, it's much more gross. So I started a movement, Purple Call Center, that put all the association and the city, everyone together to take care of people with disability. That's what I did 2 years. And today I'm trying to remove it to a regular day because, like you said, this is the war after the war. Now everything coming up. It's right, there is no war in Gaza now, right now. We don't know when it's going to come back. But just for knowing, before October 7 was in Israel, the government knows about 9,000 people that victory of terror. Do you know how many there is now? More to 18,000. 80,000 people of victory of terror that the government knowing. And these populations are growing. We don't have enough people to help them. Therapies, no, we don't have enough tools. And we have to be there for them. I will say more. I know how much JNF doing for people with disability on the north and the south and help them. But a lot of people ask me why JNF is focused on the north and the south. But I want to tell you, if a person with disability, I will be honest, if a person with disability, a woman wants to do a gynecologic check, how she can do it in the periphery of Israel? She's sitting in a wheelchair, she lives in Kiryat Shmona, there is no place for doing that. Or she living in Sderot, there is no healthy place, that have access for doing a medical day, things for her. So these women need to drive all the way to Tel Aviv, to the center of Israel, and to take a free day from work. And who pay for all that? Who take a special car? Nobody paying for that. She knew to take care of those things. And more than that, if you think about person with disability, autism, it can be a person that's a soldier that get hurt in the IDF, at war, and it's not live in the center of Israel, live in Sderot, in the south, in the north. If you want to take a bus between the city, he cannot take the bus because it's not access to him. So I'm working now to move the movement to the regular day, to make their life better, to rebuild them. We have amazing people in Israel, and like you say before me, to be optimistic, to work hard. And I think if we can work hard together, put on the side all the things that we not agree of, we can build the country better, a much more stronger, safer. And I think this is a victory for the terror. This is
beautiful. Wow. I can see some people in the crowd who are doing, so this is clapping, is it? Can everyone, let's clap. Let's do this. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for all the work you do. That is an amazing contribution you are making. Michal, you, I think, end of last year became the mayor of the region that was most badly affected on October 7. You would see firsthand the trauma that exists, and I have no doubt will exist for a very long time to come. How do you rebuild? How do you start?
Before I start, I want to say thank you for giving me the honor to be in a session that is called Wonder Women. Not all of us are long as Gal Gadot. And this chair is a nightmare, Russell. So no, I'm doing my best here. And, you know, I will say that it's a huge challenge. I knew what I'm getting into. And I was wondering for a while if I'm up to it. In such times, when such atrocities are happening, suddenly all the stupid things in life get proportions. Suddenly just being alive matters. I remember the first few days when I went to visit people in the hotels, just hugging people and saying, oh my gosh, you are alive. Not thinking about diet, not thinking about shopping or vacation, just we are alive, and it means a lot. It's not easy because Eshkol is a very gentle tapestry, human tapestry. So having such a huge loss, also many, many people that were murdered, including children, including complete families that were and suddenly they are gone. Elderly people, and it was tough, it was sadism, it was cruel. It wasn't a family that were killed in a car accident, or it was human beings that did it, and human beings that were our neighbors and we didn't see it, and half of the hostages are from our community, and yet, if you fall into victimhood and self-pityness and anger, you cannot reach anything. And the most important thing was just to believe that we can do it. For me, in the shelter, the moments of understanding the sizes of what is happening to us, for me, I got a lot of strength from thinking about the Holocaust. And I said to myself, Michal, after the Holocaust, we build a country. And this is not the Holocaust. It's a day that feels like a Holocaust, but I knew, just like what Shelly said, I knew that we will grow out of this devastation. But there are no shortcuts. It's a long journey of grieving and feeling the pain, and yet choosing life. And I remember the first few weeks and months, suddenly rain fell, and suddenly everything became green. And I said to myself and to nature, how dare you? How dare you be so gorgeous and pretty when it's so painful? And I said to myself, we have to remember that no matter what happened, the sun will rise tomorrow. And we need to, thank you. And many of you heard me saying it before, living for so many years on this beautiful area in Israel, suffering from constant emergency routine, we always said life is 99% heaven and 1% hell. And we always insisted to look on the 99% of heaven. Because if we focus on the 1% of hell, it becomes 100%. And it's something in our Jewish DNA to continue to choose hope and life and making ourselves to look on the 99% of heaven, because there are. Shelly told me about how amazed she was from the good people around Israel and around the world that kept sending love and support. And I heard yesterday a beautiful phrase. Someone told me that in order to be optimistic, you can be alone and optimistic. But in order to hold hope, you need a big group of people. And we're bringing hope, and we know that we will grow from this crisis. And while celebrating the return of the alive hostages, at the same time we feel the huge pain of the loss of the hostages that didn't return and of the people that we lost on the way, and it's many of us. But I will end this comment by saying that we need also to remind ourselves that in their light and in their memory, we should remember them alive, and we should live their life and their legacy. And this is what we are doing here.
I think if anyone had any doubts that you were the right woman for the job, I think they've been put to bed. I think you're incredible. You're incredible. What does your community need? What can all of us do to assist, to help, to support, to comfort? What can we do?
There is one, what do we need? And there is one, what can you help? A great guy from Kibbutz Be'eri told me once, Michal, in such huge tragedy, we need heroic purposes. We need a purpose. We need to remind ourselves, and I said it several times recently, we need to remind ourselves that it's very painful to be history itself. Some people used to ask me in the beginning, did you see in the news? And I said, no, I don't watch the news, I am the news. So it's not easy to be the news in such historic time, but it gives us also an opportunity to be the one who writes history ourselves. And this is what we are doing. We are doing it in Eshkol, we are doing it in Israel, and we are doing it here, around the world. We need you to help us to continue to remember what happened to us. It's a commandment in the Jewish people to remember, but to choose life at the same time. I can open a list of what we need.
I mean, we don't want to get too
important.
specific.
We need to remind ourselves that where do we want to go? And we need to remind ourselves that we have all the capability to reach it, and that we are not alone on this journey. Look around, and I wish my community was here in this room with you, just to feel the vibe and the energy, and we are not alone, and we will achieve it. There is we believe in it with a radical hope that no matter what, we will get, and we to look on the young people, to see the younger generation, and we have a bright future ahead of us.
You absolutely
But
do.
Erin, I will say another thing. Sorry, I'm a politician. We continue to talk no matter what is being asked.
No, keep going. I'm a journalist. I'll cut you off. It's fine. I'm not one of those ones. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got about 4 minutes left. And Michal, you make the point that you questioned whether or not you were up to the task. And I think all the women in this room will relate so heavily to that self-doubt. I know that I've gone through it many, many times. And I think that's what makes women so incredible, is that I'm jealous of how confident so many men are when they don't actually have much substance to back it up. I'm being completely honest. But I love you all. But the point I want to make, and I want to ask each of our incredible panelists to finish with this, is one tip that they would give you for overcoming doubt and finding that strength. Because even though most of you were not directly involved, I have no doubt that you have suffered immensely. You have felt it. Something I've learned about your community: if one of you suffers, all of you suffer. So I would love you incredible women to give our audience, in, say, 30 seconds to 45 seconds, you can tell my background's television, the greatest piece of advice you can think of, or words that they can call on when they are struggling in their battle, which is different to your battle, but just as important. Michal, I'll start with you.
I would say that there is no glass ceiling. It's up to us. I wasn't running as a female candidate, just as a great candidate to be a mayor. And Shelly said it, I think, earlier too. It's because of us. It's not because of them. And 50% of the population are women. And look, most of the management roles, most of the leadership roles are male. It's up to us. So snap out of it. If you got if you have the guts, run for it. I promise that we will be next to you to support it.
Ofri.
What I have to say, or the tip that I have, even though I feel weird to say such a thing in such a young age, I think that the power starts at reframing the narrative for myself. Every time I have something that I came upon or I have to face in front of, I'm trying to rewrite the narrative in a way that is compassionate and that is okay with myself, from a place that is more calm and helping me to push forward. Because if I will use the wrong words towards myself, this is how my entire life is going to look like.
That self-talk is so key, yes. Be gentle with yourself like you would be with everyone else in your life. I love that. Shell.
I will say that I understand that I cannot do it alone. And to ask for help, it was very hard for us. Because usually we give, we help to others, but to understand that we need help and to get it from others, it's strongest. It's not to be, to be weak. And I want to say to all of you, you are part of us. I will say you are our soldiers of Eretz Israel outside. And we couldn't do it without you and without your help. So I salute you. Thank you very much for who you are. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Shirley.
A lot of times in my life, I get no from people. everything that I want to do, every place I want to go. You tell me, Shirley, you will not understand, you will never succeed. When I elected to the Knesset, I was a woman, deaf, the youngest member of Knesset, pregnant with my second child. And there's a lot of challenge that I need to deal with and to fight about my place, about them seeing me. So if I can give one tip to all the women on the audience, that the young, the old, that want to achieve their dreams, everyone have a dream. It's never mind which one. Take your notebook, your phone, your paper, everything that you have. Take a pen and write it in that simple way. What do you want to achieve? What the things that you need to do for doing that? And start to do that, because we are women, mothers, we have family, children, and the life can be tough. A lot of time we are giving up about our personal dreams and put the family on the top, and it's okay. But if you have a dream, don't give up. Do small steps for achieve it. Be a mother to your family, be a wife, but don't give up about your dream. Write it on a paper, look at it every single day, and do even a simple thing for that, and the succeed will come.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't find the words, and I do this for a living, to describe how blown away I am by these four women up here on this panel. And you were amazing as well, by the way. Thank you. And I just want to say that we do love all the men here as well, I promise. I mean, I can't imagine why I'm single. I'm clearly bored. I do love you, I promise. Please give the most incredible round of applause, both versions, for our phenomenal panel. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're amazing.
Good afternoon. Before I close out this session, I'd like to invite Pastor Dumasani Washington to say a few words about his daughter-in-law, Olga.
Good afternoon. I was made aware of it not too long ago, but I'm honored to do it. So Olga Mashwe Washington, who's my daughter-in-law, those of you who know her, and matter of fact, on this amazing panel, she would have been here today on that panel. Olga's from South Africa, the daughter. She's the oldest child of Kenneth Mashwe, who is a parliament member, and also the founder of DAISY, Defend, Embrace, Invest in, Support Israel. It is a black South African Zionist organization founded the same year. Ironically, it was founded the same year that we founded our Black American Zionist organization here in the States. We did not know each other at the time. We only met a couple of years later. Reverend Mashwe and I began to correspond a little bit. And then Olga and I as well on social media. My son knew she was beautiful. He asked me her name. I said, her name is out of your league, son. That's to make him try hard, Russell. Thankfully, he didn't get completely discouraged. They were married, had 7 wonderful years together. She passed away January of this year. We are still very much in mourning. My wife is here as well at the conference. She's in another place. Our operations and everything stopped for a few months before we regained. She was an extraordinary person. Those of you who know her know that already. She had great loves in her life. She loved God, very religious person. She loved her family, her father, her mother, brothers and sisters. She loved her husband, my son, their 2 sons, Ezra and Judah, who are now 6 and 4. And she loved South Africa. She called herself a daughter of Africa, and she loved Israel and the Jewish people. One of the first times I saw her on video, social media, it was an event somewhere in South Africa. It was a pro-Israel event for their organization. I didn't know her again at the time. I knew of her father. And she gave maybe about 15, 20-minute speech. And if you've ever heard her speak, you know she's she's a force of nature. And at some point in the speech, as she was going through her points, she was speaking directly to the Jewish students on the campuses there. Because the BDS movement, which actually started there because of the Durban conference in South Africa, 2001, the violence and the things associated with all the anti-Semitism were happening in some of those campuses. And Olga, to the audience, says, and when these things rise up, she spoke directly to the students, know that we will support you, we will protect you. And this is the type of person that she was. She didn't say things just to say them, she meant them. On the morning of October the 7th, 2023, the October the 7th, she was actually on her way to Israel for a JNF conference, and I believe she was receiving an award. And I believe, Russell, tell me your wife's name again to me. I'm still learning the names, I'm sorry. This is my first time I've known of them, but I haven't met them face to face until we came to this conference. Olga always spoke highly of them. They were on their way to pick her up from the airport. And we were horrified at what we were seeing in the news and the images coming up that Hamas themselves were posting. And we didn't know what to do. We couldn't contact her. She wasn't on Wi-Fi at the moment on the plane. And we said, well, even if we could, what do we tell her? What do we say? What do we say? When you land, if you land, this is what's happening. And so for the first week after October 7th, she's on the ground with JNF, helping, going from place to place. It is a whirlwind. At some point, Russell, she made a video, and she was outraged that there was not an outcry coming from the Christian community. So being who she was, she made a video in the car, and in a very nice South African polite way, read in the Riot Act, where are you? You've come here to the Holy Land. Why aren't you standing up? Why aren't you saying something? She did this from the time. I ended up saying this. When she came home after that week, flew in, there's a lot of stuff going on at the house. She was brought by taxi to the house. My son and our grandsons were there, and my wife opened the door, and it was at that point she just collapsed and began to cry because of everything that she had seen. She experienced that October 7th on the ground with her Israeli brothers and sisters, and I can tell you she would have rather been nowhere else at the time, and spoke out even more. We miss her terribly. Again, we are still weeping, but I know that for Olga, it was a heart's cry. She's a Zionist through and through. So thank you for honoring her memory. Thank you for even giving me the opportunity to say these things about her. Thank you for continuing. I'll say this last thing. We've gotten an outpouring of love from the Jewish community literally around the world, literally. Her body was buried there at Tel Regeb Cemetery in Haifa. She's not Jewish. My son just said, Dad, I think I want to do that. I said, well, let's see. And then our Israeli friends, the president himself, President Herzog, came to the house where we were sitting, Shiva, to personally express his condolences for the family. That's how our Jewish friends have stood up for us. Now I'll end it with this, Russell. Our Jewish friends have told us the first time I saw Martin Luther King Street in Jerusalem and Coretta Scott King Forest that JNF was responsible for placing there. They said, Dumisani, the Jewish people never forget a friend. We buried our daughter while you still had hostages in Gaza, while you were still losing soldiers. But many Israelis came to that cemetery to bury her and cry with us. We will never forget that. We're saying while you are mourning your losses and fighting for your very existence, you pause to stand with Christian Zionists just to let them know how much you appreciate it. So let you know we love and appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Pastor Washington, thank you for sharing your daughter-in-law's spirit with us. I have no doubt she would have been one of the Wonder Women on this stage. My name's Ula Zusman. I am a proud Jewish National Fund USA ambassador and currently a basket case, so please forgive me if I start crying. Like all of you, I was beyond moved by the unbelievable panel we had and what we've heard and witnessed this afternoon. To our extraordinary panelists, I'm not sure where all of them are, but Shirly Pinto Kadosh, Ofri Reiner, Shelly Shem, and Michal Uziyahu, a simple thank you is so insufficient. You've reminded us that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it's found in showing up, in expressing love and faith, in standing tall, and in daring to hope. And to our extraordinary moderator, Erin Molan, for guiding this conversation with such remarkable grace and empathy. I believe she epitomizes what an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor, is. And my profound thanks. What we witnessed today was more than a panel. It was a reflection of the spirit of our land and people of Israel. A spirit that refuses to break. These women, in their courage and conviction, embody what it means to be part of the Jewish National Fund USA family, where they experience heartbreak and still find ways to take action, where they suffer adversity and distill it into purpose. Through every crisis and challenge, Jewish National Fund stands with women like these, helping rebuild homes, schools, and lives. We empower community and communities in Israel's north and south so that families can not only survive, but thrive. We have another jam-packed afternoon of inspiring sessions and workshops beginning at 3:45. Please refer to programs for the full schedule. I tried, Noah, I tried. Additionally, for those sharing the experiences of what it feels like to be here at the Global Conference on Socials, please remember to tag JNF USA and to use the hashtag Powered by JNF. With all respect to our favorite Wonder Woman on the silver screen, I now have a new definition. Our Wonder Woman on stage and every Wonder Woman and man in this room, thank you for being part of our positive future. Am Yisrael Chai and Shabbat Shalom.